Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I was just doing some barefoot skipping there as part of a warm-up before I continue jumping rope. And I recently posted a video connected with jumping rope without shoes, jumping rope barefoot, which I received a lot of good comments to, questions, and people shared their experiences with jumping rope. And the experiences were mixed. Some people said they really enjoy jumping rope barefoot and they find it helpful in terms of jumping rope. They said it's a lot easier for them. And there were comments on the opposite spectrum, even from advanced jump ropers who said, even though they've been jumping rope for quite some time, for several years in some people's cases, they said that they don't like jumping rope barefoot. One, they find it hard, and they also find it painful. For example, if the rope hits your feet, that can be quite painful. Or if you land on the ground in your bare feet, that can be painful, especially if you jump far too high. And that's one of the reasons why jumping rope in your bare feet is often not recommended for beginners. When we're new to something, when we're new to jumping rope, for example, we have a tendency to jump far too high, a lot higher than is necessary. A jump rope is really not that thick, so we just need to jump, about an inch or two off the ground to clear the rope. But when we're new to jumping rope, in my case, for example, I would jump far, far too high off the ground. And if I were to do that in my bare feet, I would land on the ground with a thud, and that could place far too much pressure, strain on my feet, my ankles, my Achilles tendon. So jumping rope in your bare feet is really not recommended for beginners because our technique is not adequate. We jump far too high off the ground. Landing on the ground can place far too much impact on our feet. Secondly, our spinning technique is not that good. Oftentimes we get the rope caught in our feet and our legs, and if you're doing that with your barefoot, that becomes extremely painful. But that doesn't mean we're not able to exercise in our bare feet. In the previous video, I suggested that if you're interested in trying jumping rope barefoot, I suggested walking around in your bare feet. Get comfortable just even walking before you introduce a jump rope. Also, practice jumping in your bare feet before you introduce a rope. Get comfortable just jumping up and down off the ground just an inch or two before you even consider jumping a rope. And when you do practice with a jump rope, if you want to try jumping rope in your barefoot, one, make sure the ground that you're jumping on is free of any sharp objects. Two, don't spin the rope particularly fast. Just spin the rope slowly, jump over the rope, and that could be it. Try that again, stop. Again, stop. Keep doing that. Maybe try one jump at a time. When you get comfortable doing that, try doing 2 jumps or 3 jumps. So start off slowly and build how often you do jump rope in your bare feet. Even 10 seconds, 20 seconds can be a lot if you're not used to walking around in your bare feet. Nowadays, shoes, rubber soles have become so commonplace. Even people around the houses often wear maybe a slipper, so they're not really accustomed to going barefoot. So if you often wear shoes, or you always wear shoes, maybe even at home you don't walk around bare feet, and all of a sudden you want to start jumping rope barefoot, you could open yourself up to injury. So start slowly. But one thing to keep in mind is humans didn't evolve wearing shoes. We didn't evolve wearing thick rubber soles. Take the Maasai warriors, for example. I've talked about them in a previous video connected with triple jumps. The Maasai warriors, they don't wear shoes, and they're known for being able to jump incredibly high. And they do so without injury. They're able to jump really high off the ground, land on the ground, and experience no pain, no injuries. I highly recommend checking them out, the Maasai warriors. Or check out the video that I made on them, connected with triple unders, and I'll provide a link to that down below in the description. So my point with making reference to the Maasai warriors is that you, me, we're all capable of exercising, walking, running, jumping in our bare feet, but it's just that we've gotten so accustomed, so used to wearing shoes, that our feet have gotten used to all this additional support that we almost have to train ourselves to go barefoot. So I highly recommend, for the health, the mobility of your feet, your ankles, your Achilles tendon, to just spend a little bit of time going barefoot. Not even jumping rope, just maybe walking around your house. If you have grass, it's absolutely fantastic for doing some light walking, maybe some light jumping, some jogging, even just maybe doing some stretching on the grass in your bare feet. Walk around your house in your bare feet. So thank you again for all your questions, your comments, your sharing your experiences about jumping rope barefoot. I've been gradually incorporating more and more barefoot activities into my daily life, my weeks, walking barefoot, running, stretching, jumping rope. And when I jump rope barefoot, I don't do too much. I do short kind of sessions for short sets, for example, a minute or 2 or 3 minutes. And I might do that several times as a warm-up or even as a cool down. And I'm also just doing more barefoot walking inside my house. I tend not to wear shoes, so I do that anyways, but I often wear socks. But now I've even removed the socks. I'll walk around outside. If there's grass, I'll run. Yesterday I was running gently on some concrete and before putting on shoes. One thing I find is when you do go barefoot, let's say for example you're walking barefoot or you're jumping, you're running, your form, or in my case, it seems like my form improves because I become more mindful of what I'm doing. So for example, yesterday I was running, and because I was going barefoot, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't pounding my feet against the ground because that would be painful. And I also noticed that I wasn't overstriding. I didn't want to place too much impact on my feet, my lower legs. I didn't want my heel, for example, to hit the ground if I was overstriding. Instead, I was trying to land very lightly, land on my, for example, the front of my foot or the middle of my foot. So I was landing a lot more gently. I wasn't overstriding. My technique became better, and I found I was running far more effortlessly. So that's something to keep in mind. When we do go barefoot, it can almost force us to become more mindful of the activity that we're doing, and as a result, we improve our technique. All right, well, thanks for watching, everyone. I'm going to get back to jumping rope. Hey, everyone. One very important thing when it comes to preventing pain or injury when skipping rope in your bare feet or without shoes is proper footwork. And this is something that I've talked about, for example, in relation to doing double unders, how you use your feet to absorb impact and to push off the ground. So right now we are seeing an image from this barefoot skipping session, and I'm going to show you a slow motion clip in just a second so we can observe how my feet are being used. In the clip that we will be seeing, I will be performing the boxer skip. So a lot of my body weight will be shifted to the left foot, and you will notice that the heel of the left foot is back a bit in comparison to the heel of the right foot. But what I really want to focus on here is when my feet land on the ground. Look at my right foot. The big toe will make contact with the ground first, and followed by the other toes, and then the palm of the foot will make contact with the ground next. I'm using the big toe and the other toes to cushion the landing, trying to land gently, quietly, and the palm of the foot assists in this motion. And then when I'm jumping off the ground, it's the reverse or the opposite. The palm of the foot will roll off the ground first, followed by the toes, and just pushing off the ground to leave the ground, to clear the rope. So you want to think of your toes, the balls of your feet, or the palm of your feet as your body's natural springs and hydraulics or shock absorbers. You want to try to land on the ground gently. Use your toes to just gently make contact with the ground, followed by the palm of your foot, and then do the reverse. Gently push off the ground in a very spring-like motion. Just push off the ground, clear the rope. The higher you want to jump, the harder you will push off the ground. So for example, if you're doing double unders, you will push off the ground a little bit harder. If you're doing triple unders, you're going to really push off the ground in a spring-like fashion. And that's something I've talked about in a video where I relate or where I talk about the Maasai warriors and their jump technique. The Maasai warriors, for example, can jump extremely high, and they really push off the ground, almost